The following production is part of the Play Some Video Games podcast network.
Hello, everybody. It's been a long time coming, but we are finally about to put the exclamation point at the end of PSVG's E3 coverage for 2018. Finally, thank you for sticking with us while we gave you all of the news from all of the things from all of the places. With me tonight, thankfully, I'm not doing this solo yet again. I have brought somebody who is unfortunately unable to participate with us in a lot of the E3 festivities, so of course I had to tag him along now. Nathan, sir, how are we?
World premiere. Exclusive. Hey man, what's going on? I am here finally. It feels like it's been a very, very long time since I've been on the mic, so it's good to be here. I did keep up with all the content that you've been putting out, by the way, and I do have to say it felt like I was there.
Aww. Getting a little verklempt. So unfortunately, Nathan had some work and life stuff happen, so he wasn't able to be there. But we can't ignore the fact that we've already done our Microsoft coverage, and the Emperor was not there himself. So before we get to Ubisoft, which is our topic tonight, Nathan, your thoughts, 5 minutes or so on the Xbox presentation, what Microsoft brought to E3 this year.
You're only giving me 5 minutes.
Well, 5 to 10. 5 to 10.
Okay, well, we'll figure it out here. First off, I want to say hey to Sean. Jason! Anyway, he's in the chat, by the way. So the Xbox presentation was, overall, since everybody's already talked about it and there's no spoilers or anything about it, it was great. I really enjoyed the presentation they put together. They had a ton of games on the stage. They came ready to fire on all cylinders, and that was very evident. The announcements of the studios was fantastic. We already kind of knew that Playground was in their pocket, so to speak. But, with Ninja Theory and the Coalition, those were kind of out of the blue. We didn't quite expect them to happen. But very excited to see what they bring to the fold, because with Ninja Theory, I have yet to play Hellblade. I have it downloaded, but I have not yet played it. By all accounts, it is an experimental type game that plays very much in the audio space as well as the visuals and the storytelling. And it was a very small studio that made that game. And I'm really excited to see what they're able to do with the Microsoft backbone, with that marketing arm, with that technology arm that Microsoft brings them. Because if you watch the video that they put out afterwards, they talked about their decision to join Microsoft and what it brought, and that they sat down with other, developers that decided to join Microsoft and what they thought. And the decision, though, wasn't easy. It was the right decision for them. And I want to see, what they're able to bring to the table, what happens. And I really want Microsoft just to be hands off and just say, you guys, you do you. We'll be here over here. We'll be putting our name on the box. We'll be putting the commercials out, which commercials are new for them. But I do look forward to seeing what they put out. So that's cool. Obviously, the stealers of the show for me were Forza Horizon 4, as nobody would anticipate. It's one of those things. But it was actually really cool to see what they're doing. So with Forza Horizon 3, we got the Blizzard Mountain DLC. And so we got to see what it was like to drive around in the snow. And so now we'll be driving around in, was it Scotland?
Yes.
I want to say it was Scotland.
Yeah, I believe it was Scotland.
Because it wasn't London, but I think it was Scotland.
No.
And they, implemented the seasons. So we have spring with the wet weather. You have summer with, your typical sunny. And then you have the fall with the leaves blowing around. And you also have winter. So you have ice and snow and things that are all kind of dynamically changing. So it's really cool to have that aspect there. So you don't have to load into a specific map to play on the snow stages or see what else that brings. So excited to see what they actually put out here. And I heard that they're expanding on Forza Horizon 4 with the ability to buy properties now, and some other little features that they're putting in there, which I haven't seen confirmed from a Microsoft source, but I've just heard people talking about it. So I don't know if they got hearsay or if they were, talking to a developer at E3. But it seems like there's a lot more building on top of what we already love that's happening here. You're getting that 4K 60. Hello, 4K 60 on Xbox One X, which is new to Horizon because we had 4K on the Forza Horizon 3 with the Xbox One X enhanced version, but we never got 60. 60 was on the Motorsport series.
Yep.
So now we got 4K 60 in an open world racing game. This is going to be fantastic. This is going to be great. Looking forward to experiencing that for sure. I did like the little fake out they had when they had the Coalition, the Gears cog up on the screen. And then it was a pop game.
Yep.
And so I was just, I fell for it. I was like, this can't be it. And then I was like, okay, cool. After the pop game, they had the strategy game.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, we're going to get a real game though, right? And sure enough, we got the really good looking trailer for Gears 5. So I'm looking forward to see what they bring to the table with that. But not only that, I am interested in checking out the pop mobile game thing. I don't know why, but it's just one of those things where it's like, I'll try it.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's free. What are you going to do? You know?
Exactly. And the strategy game, I've always been a strategy fan, and they said this was for PC.
Yeah.
So I'll be curious to see what that really does as far as a strategy game goes. I'll give it a shot as well, depending on, cost of entry. But I was excited to see that they had those two other things. They're really expanding that world a little bit more. They're experimenting more in that setting of the Gears world. Mm-hmm. And then we get the big expansion with the Gears 5 with I can't recall the name of the female lead in the series because I, to my shame and detriment, still need to catch up on the Gears series.
I haven't played 4 yet either, so I'm with you.
Yeah. Well, I also haven't played Judgment 3 or completed 2, so I'm way back.
That's weird. I'm farther along in Gears than you are. I have at least played 1 through 3. So
yeah, I know. Sean says Kate, so thank you, Sean. That is the female lead's name. So I'm looking forward to see the story because it looks interesting, right? So there's something that is affecting her. There's a loss that she suffers and this journey that she's going to go on. So I'm excited to see where that goes and hoping that the story really shines through in this game because that's what we need from Microsoft is a great story, which it looks like it could deliver. Obviously, I can't not talk about the conference without mentioning the Halo Infinite thing that they opened up with. I mean, that was ballsy, right? You open up with Halo Infinite with the Slipstream engine. But, and this is probably just me. I mean, I'm sure other people are excited. I wish they wouldn't have said anything about Halo Infinite. I really just wish they would have kept that because it's going to be a few years before we even see anything because of this. Mm-hmm. So in a year where they have Gears and Forza to talk about already and Ori, they didn't need to talk about Halo.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So while I am excited to see what it does in the future, I just feel like we didn't need to see it yet. The other, we'll call it elephant in the room, is Crackdown 3.
Yo.
So shortly before the presentation, it was rumored that it was going to be delayed, and it is. Yeah. And it looks a little bit different from the last time we saw it.
It does.
But I really think that because of Game Pass, the game will at least get some life.
Yes.
Because typically when you have a game like this, it's gone through this kind of development cycle. It's not going to speak well if it was like even a $30 title or a $40 title, right? But by them putting it in Game Pass, which, by the way, Forza Horizon 4 is going to be on Game Pass and presumably Gears 5 next year. But the inclusion of that and all the other first-party stuff that they were putting in the Game Pass, and by the way, the engineer for Game Pass, the head engineer, was out on stage talking about the platform and that they've now introduced a fast load option.
Yeah,
so quick play, so you can get to this stuff even better because they've got algorithms that say people usually do this and this, so they prioritize that loading and installation first, and then install the rest after. So pretty cool technology to use that, and I just really think that Crackdown will benefit from the inclusion in there because I will play it because of Game Pass, but I wouldn't go buy it day one for sure.
Yep, I'm with you.
But I will be day one download Game Pass, so
yeah,
that's one thing about that there. But Phil also dropped the mention that they're working on the next generation of consoles. They are working on the family of consoles, so it seems like there's going to be an upper tier, like an X class, and an S type class of console that are releasing. So to me, whenever we get more information on those consoles, if there are going to be those two classes, I'm okay to ride the X for a little bit. I don't feel the need, at least at this point, to want to jump onto the next console.
Mm-hmm.
I just got a PS4 Pro. I know, sacrilegious. I've got a Switch. I know, sacrilegious. And I also have the Xbox One X. But I feel fine playing that console. Like I was playing the Division the other day because it's been updated for X, and it's getting a lot more players now because now that's in Game Pass.
Yeah.
And that game still looks phenomenal. And I finally got my wife let me get a new TV.
My wife.
So I have a 65-inch, the TCL, the new series. I can't remember the model off the top of my head, but it's the HDR and the 4K, so I can finally see what Phil intended me to see. So it's really cool to see that now. But like I said, if this new generation of consoles comes out and it's that high price point, I might wait for a limited edition console or a pack-in bundle or something, because it seems to be the case that Sony does it. Nintendo hasn't yet done it with the Switch, but I feel like they're going to eventually.
Yeah, they're going to.
But everybody seems to pack in something or do some sort of limited edition, within the first year. And I've got way too many games to even think about playing the launch lineup of a new console anyway. So it's not even on my radar, to be honest. Phil mentioned it in the conference. Great. We all knew that he was working on it, but he just, verified it pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And he also mentioned something about letting people play wherever they're at. So on the tablets, on phones, on PCs, on devices. So it could be like a smart TV or things like that. Now, this sounds very familiar to what Sony was kind of starting to play with that PS Now, PS TV type technology. But I don't know. To me, I don't feel like there is a need to really invest in them even researching that. However, Microsoft is a billion-dollar company, and I got no, I don't understand their strategy for sure, obviously. So I know that they have HoloLens that they've just built for development purposes at this point, and they have no intention on entering the VR space at this point either. So I feel like the console for them, is just the best thing to do would be continuing to put out the most powerful console. Like when they dropped the X, the tide shifted. Well, it was already starting to slowly shift before that when Phil took over and with his messaging and with, Game Pass and all the consumer friendly moves that they were making. And now this adaptive control that they just put out and everything. It just, Microsoft is making all the right moves. And if you don't see that as a gamer, if you are blinded to one fandom or another and can't see that Microsoft is making all these moves that are good for you, I mean, you need to open your eyes because they did a fantastic job with this conference. They've been doing a great job, at least so in Phil Spencer's era. They've been doing a great job with the Xbox One, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I was happy with their conference. I was very happy with it. I would give it a solid A if I was to give it a letter grade. And I feel like they had a lot of good third party support. They had Kingdom Hearts 3 on stage.
Yep.
No, I didn't expect to see that. I mean, I figured that was more of a Sony thing, which they were there as well. But for them to be the first conference and have that mind share now of, hey, I saw Kingdom Hearts on the Xbox stage. I saw Division on the Xbox stage.
Fallout on the Xbox stage.
Yeah, Todd Howard was out there saying, hey, guys, what's going on? So it was really cool to see all that stuff take place. And I'm excited for the future. The state of the Xbox empire is strong, and I am looking forward to more And how many minutes was that? Was that probably like 20?
That's probably like 20. I let you go. I was getting ready to hit the cancel button real quick, but no, your points are valid. I said it to you offline, and I think Xbox is doing everything right to lay the groundwork for the future to take back that lead they had obviously during the Xbox 360 era. And if they're able to make these games come out with great narratives, like you mentioned with Gears 5, then they're doing literally everything they need to do to give Sony the good fight that they both deserve to be able to compete a little more aggressively than they have been right now. A couple of side notes too. I mean, Forza, that got me to play Forza finally. I finally booted the last one up on my Xbox One.
This is the first time you played it?
Yeah. I've had the Xbox all the time. I like it.
Good.
I think the misconception was for me is I thought it was more of a racing simulator as opposed to an arcadey racer.
How many times did I tell you that it wasn't?
I don't know. I tuned you out a lot of times with Xbox talk. But no, I'm playing that. I keep going back to the Division, and I'm not sure that I like it yet. I don't know, but I mean, I keep playing the Xbox, and honestly, I can say it's 100%. I've been playing the Xbox a lot more than my PS4 lately, and that's just because there's more things, there's new things for me to experience here right now. So I'm jumping into all that. And I mean, Gears is coming up next. I did try Sunset Overdrive. I've been playing all these different things. So like I did all the Game Pass games, the State of Decay 2, Sea of Thieves, all that stuff. So I'm enjoying it, but. This isn't an Xbox podcast. This is the Ubisoft podcast. So
just the chat's been going on. Like, where's the Ubisoft recap? It's coming. Here we are.
It's coming right now. Here we go.
World premiere.
All right. So Ubisoft, arguably, I think it's pretty safe to say that the last few years they've been kind of the standout third-party conference to watch. They've done a lot of great things over the past couple of years. This year, once again, was not a disappointment. But they kicked it off in traditional fashion with the big dance number for Just Dance 2019 that went on probably just a tad too long. It was like a 10-minute dance number with the panda bear, drum line, everything. But it was incredible to see. Just Dance 2019 is out in October. Xbox One, PS4, Switch, Wii U, and Wii.
It's on the Wii?
That's right. They're still putting it out on the Wii because everyone had a Wii, and apparently they still need to keep that tradition of Just Dance coming out on the Wii. It has come out on the Wii every single year since the Wii came out, and it has not taken a break. So, yeah, take that for it as well. You don't have any comments on Just Dance, right, Nate?
Well, so I mean, just for the beginning of the conference, there was that slightly awkward start with those two hosts that kind of started the conference off.
Yes,
got off into a weird little tone beginning, but I thought the Just Dance intro was creative. I thought that it was. The pre-recorded segment that kind of flowed into a live performance. I thought that was creative, and I thought it was a good start to kind of kick things off for the conference.
Yeah, it's getting to a point that like it doesn't make me interested in the game, but it always makes for an interesting start to the conference every year when they do something with this. And I will say my wish list for Ubisoft did not happen again this year. Still no Aisha Tyler back. They need that. Let's be honest, guys. Although this year was better than some of the cringeworthy people they had last year. Just kind of those first two at the start of the show that kind of started things off in an awkward fashion. But we got to see more of Beyond Good and Evil 2 with another super flashy trailer that didn't really give you a sense of how the game actually functions whatsoever.
So I know nothing about Beyond Good and Evil at all. I do have the first game on Xbox One backwards compatibility because it was on 360. So I haven't yet played it, but it's installed. So one of these days I'll get to it. But I know nothing about it. But they said that it was a space opera, and that has me intrigued. So depending on how it is received, I like Ubisoft as a developer as a development houses, whatever they call it. They've been doing really great games, and so I'm inclined to give them the benefit of the doubt to just see what they do. Even though I don't know anything about these particular characters or the setting or anything, they say space opera, my ears prick up. So I'll look at it.
It was definitely, for its time, a rough Mass Effect-esque type game. I won't give away anything, but the standout things about this game, the first one, was the characters. They were some of the best characters in a video game ever, in my opinion, at least. So this will probably, hopefully, continue that tradition. And it did to point out that the star of the first game, this is a prequel, even though it's a prequel, because things are weird now.
Redemption 2 is the same way.
Yeah, exactly. Jade, who is the main character in Beyond Good and Evil, makes an appearance in this one, and it seems like she's possibly a villain this time around, according to the trailer at least. But the developers afterwards weren't really clear. They just simply said she's going to play a major role in the game. They then showed some pre-alpha gameplay on stage, which is kind of impressive. So they talked about this last year's E3 and they kind of unveiled it, and they had that really flashy trailer then too. And then they showed it again, but now it's only in pre-alpha development. So I think this game's going to be years and years down the line. Looks really, really good for a pre-alpha. But one of the most interesting portions of this, besides the fact that the whole game can be played solo or in co-op, is they're working with Joseph Gordon-Levitt's Hit Record company to allow people to contribute artwork, voiceover works, radio commercials, things like that for the game. And you can just simply go on the website and submit your things there, and they'll decide if they want to take it or not. So it was kind of cool to see players being able to influence the game, but also I've seen some people taking cracks at it saying it's a really cheap way for Ubisoft to get some free labor. But then it was, clarified that the company does pay the people for their contributions if they put it into the game. But it just seems to some people this is a lazy way of getting things done. I'm all for it, because if it's things like, hey, I'm traveling on my ship and some radio's playing in my spaceship and there's a commercial, it doesn't matter who did that, and it's not affecting the gameplay or the story. Let fans get themselves in there and experience something kind of fun. I think that's something that certainly would be up your alley, sir.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when I heard that Hit Record was involved, I had heard about them a while back, but I never really paid much attention to them. But I wish that I'd had some time between now and then to actually explore the Hit Record, the content they're looking for, and things like that, to speak a little bit more about it. But I do think that it's one of those things where I'll at least check it out and maybe submit something to see what happens. I mean, I don't even care if I get paid. I just want to be part of the game. I think it'd be kind of cool.
Exactly.
But I thought that it was interesting. They were kind of, what's the term? Crowdsourcing the content.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like you said, this has got some implications possibly for the labor union and the voice actors guild and things like that.
Oh, I didn't think of that. That's a good point.
Yeah. But at the same time, I don't think they mean any ill will. I just think that they want people that are excited about the game to be able to be involved with the game. I think that it's pretty much altruistic intentions, but with the back end of, hey, we can get some free content or very cheap content.
Right. I mean, like, realistically, you're not going to voice a main character in the game. You're going to do something little like a commercial.
Oh, man.
Maybe the crowd walking through, a crowded city and somebody's like, hey, that's my bag or something. It's going to be things like that. It's not going to be major roles in the game, I don't think. So, I mean, the real people who would be getting paid substantially for their voice acting work aren't going to be affected by this.
I think there should be a character named Major Roles.
You submit it, sir. I know Caroline plans on doing some artwork, so you might as well submit a voice. I was thinking about doing a voice.
I need to make her or ask her to create a character named Major Roles that I can voice. We'll submit this whole thing.
Amazing. So yeah, they showed that. Didn't give really any more dates or anything like that. You can, continue following them online. I think they have a beta you can sign up for too, what they mentioned last year thing, but I don't think it's not live or active yet. So it's still a long ways down, but it's good to see Ubisoft not letting it go pretty much a year without talking about it at least a little bit. Now, if they do it again next year and still don't have any more concrete info as to when it's coming out, it's going to be a little long in the tooth, I think, but it's good to see they're not ignoring it.
Yeah. Now, before we move on to the next thing, I did want to point out that this was the first segment of many that the behind-the-scenes curtain work was not very good.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of live mics that were left on after people left the stage. And with this one, I heard the lady kind of excitedly, we nailed it.
It was so cute. It was so cute to see that. They were so excited. But no, you're right. I noticed, there was a lot of that. Not even just in Ubisoft, but throughout the conference, of a lot of mics left on or mics left off in some cases, or people talking for a little while and not even picking anything up. But yeah, that was definitely one of the more fun moments, I think, when she was like, we nailed it. So the next thing they showed was Trials. So Trials, the motorbike racing.
The next thing they showed was Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh, but they didn't announce anything.
No, they didn't. But here's another trend that I didn't like this year that I saw a few times too, was that, oh, okay, I get it, and I like that you are continuing to support your games. However, I don't really think that E3 is the stage to say that Rainbow Six Siege has hit 35 million players.
Yep.
There's 3 tournaments upcoming, and you're making a documentary.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not E3 material. Like,
no, you released that as a press conference. Like, like a mini Nintendo Direct, be like, hey, we have this new trailer for news on Rainbow Six Siege. Like that makes more sense. I'm with you.
Right. I mean, I get that you want to entice people to come check out Rainbow Six Siege that haven't checked it out or that went away and they want to come back, but your main audience is these 35 million players that you've already mentioned that you have, and you can talk to them directly. You probably already have, and it just feels like a waste of time, of airtime that they could have probably put something else in here, or given us some more of something else. But speaking of a waste of time, you were saying, sir.
Oh, wow. That's kind of cold. I will say, though, since you brought up the Rainbow Six Siege, for somebody that has not played it, that information they provided didn't do anything to entice me to want to check it out, though. So it wasn't hey, here's what you're missing out on these 35 million players. This is what we're doing. It's like, I left knowing nothing more than what I knew going in. So
right. Basically, if you were familiar with the game and what it was already, you got more information here about the player base and things like that. It continues to grow. The community's good. But if you didn't know anything about the game, like this could have been a strategy game and you wouldn't never know it.
Exactly.
Because they didn't show anything about the gameplay or how they've improved. I mean, it would have been cool if they would have talked about, what, this is, the graphics that we started launch with, or these are the concepts, or these are the controls. And throughout the 3 years that we've had this game, we've improved in these fields, and this is what it looks like today. Why? I mean, that would have been something right there, right? You do a contrast from what you launched at to where you are now. That would be worth it on the E3 stage. But just to do what they did, it doesn't do anything for me.
No, I'm with you. So Trials, once again, the motorbike racing game, new one coming out, Trials Rising. Looks pretty much more the same. If you're a Trials fan, you know what to expect from these. A little wacky. They did put out a great trailer for it, though, and they had a lot of fun with this presentation, although the people that were actually talking about the game were a little cringeworthy there. The trailer was very funny, though, watching all the ways you can wipe out and die and complete the courses. Unfortunately, though, for them, this full game is coming out in February 2019, which is the cursed time frame, apparently, where everything is coming out. But it's hitting PS4, Xbox One, of course, PC again, and then for the first time, it's coming to Switch. So, nice little pickup.
Yeah, but here's my thing about this game. A, they spent way, way, way too much time on this.
Yes.
B, the intro with the guy coming on the bike, okay, kind of funny, kind of creative, but then for him just to walk and trip into the thing,
oh god,
them like
that was so bad.
Yeah, them watching the people clean it up and be like, this is just weird. So as that presentation aspect, not so great. But the game itself does look fun. However, it does not look very polished at all. And I've played Trials games before.
Yeah,
the games I've played look better than what I saw on the stage. So I'm just curious if it didn't translate well over the stream or what it was. But to me, I was watching it and I was like, this does not look good. It looks okay. This looks like Xbox 360 when it was on there.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot better since then. So I don't know.
That's right. You'll play it when it hits Games with Gold or PlayStation Plus anyway. So just like everybody else does with those games.
Yeah. And then the whole University of Trials thing about creating a tutorial, they spent way too much time.
Way too long on that guy. Way too long. I was like, all right, it's really, and I think I said this during the live stream when it was going on. I said, all right, this is really cool for that guy who started making these videos, and then Ubisoft was like, hey, we want to invite you to participate. That's awesome for him. Does not equate to anything for anybody else. So yeah, and then they did spend a long time on that. But now finally they got into something cool. Division 2 was shown there. So the game's creative director came out, gave a little narrative setup for the game. It takes place 7 months after the initial viral outbreak in the Division 1, and America has now degenerated into another civil war. It takes place in Washington, D.C., which is an awesome area to work with, I think, in this type of narrative place. You can do 8-player raids now. You can team up with 7 friends and, kind of go on your missions there. It'll have 3 free episodic DLC packs that will introduce new areas, stories, and activities. And they're just continuing to support the division. I think they learned a lot from that first division, which, like you said, is on Game Pass now. So it's kind of gotten a little jump start again to get people back into the game. And they've also added those shields and special missions to get you ready for Division 2, which is awesome. But it just shows that they've learned a lot from this first outing with the division and want to clearly make Division 2 something bigger and better than the first one there. So, like I said, I'm trying to get into it. I thought it was something I'd really be into. I don't know if it's just not clicking for me yet, but I'm still going to invest some more time into see if I can get into it because I would love to be playing the Division 2 with you guys. I know a lot of the people on the site were excited about it and said, hey, this is something we can all play together with 8-player raids. That'd be insane. But yeah, I want to get into it. But it looked really good from me, and I think the narrative had me much more interested in this one than the first one, which took place. It's taking place in New York in the first one, right?
Yeah, the first one was in New York, basically the island of Manhattan, I believe.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought there.
So with this Division 2, I liked the trailer that they had. So it was like a continuous shot mock trailer.
Mhm.
So it really did a good job in setting the tone to get the people more involved in the narrative of this story, because the narrative of the first one was kind of there, kind of not. But this one, you can definitely tell that they've invested more time on the narrative and being able to tell that story. The specializations will be interesting after the main game, so you have those different classes that you can get into. Like you said, the eight player raids are going to be fun.
Yep.
And the fact that Ubisoft has already demonstrated, as we saw with Rainbow Six, that they continue to support things for years. In the current division, they're supporting for years. And with all that free content that's coming, that's really cool to see. So it's probably going to be supported via microtransactions, or people want a specific gear set or something like that, the color. Because I doubt that they would introduce any sort of, perk to buy type system, just from what we've seen from everybody else at this point. But it would be nice to see, or would have been nice to see, some gameplay during the conference. I know we saw a little bit after the conference, but we're just talking about the conference itself. I feel like you could have shortened out, some of your other stuff, like if you had that Trials or the Rainbow Six thing, and had a little bit of gameplay here, just like 5 minutes. Just to have that complete package on the stage of the division would have been really nice.
Yeah, another thing Ubisoft's a little guilty of, and they've done it the last couple of years too, is those artificial voiceovers too with people playing the game. So it's already a crafted trailer made to look like a demo, and then they put those really bad voiceovers like, come on, let's go check out this plane. Like, yeah, let's go. Like, those conversations never happen with real gamers. Trust me. Those are not the things we're talking about. That's not how we talk to each other about what we're doing. It's more like, Donnie, what are you doing? Get over here. No Mo, don't throw grenades at that mob over there. Like, it's gonna be conversations like that, not this whole like
eating chips on the mic.
Come on, everybody, let's go. Like, yeah, it's just But so that's a little cheesy there. Speaking of cheesy, there was a musical performance for Mario and Rabbids Donkey Kong DLC from the composer, which I will say he makes fantastic music, so I'm all for his music. But once again, it's kind of like, do we need to do this? Is this coming? I mean, this is DLC. It is a massive DLC though. They're talking like 10 hours plus worth of content for Mario and Rabbids with the Donkey Kong thing. So they did show a trailer for the expansion, which drops June 26th. So we're about a week away from that now. Looked great. It's just more of Mario and Rabbids. Did you play Mario and Rabbids?
Not yet, but I have it to play.
Okay.
But I mean, again, I felt like this was DLC. Is that really something that you put on E3 stage and give this much time to? It just, another thing that just felt like it was oddly paced, oddly put in there, and just kind of like, hey, we need to fill some time and let's do this. But live mic watch, we have someone said, like probably a stagehand, sorry they changed your entrance, and then the guy said they changed it every day. It's like, as I picked these up throughout the conference, or I just had to bring them up because I was like, this is terrible as far as that side of the house goes. It's just like, come on, you guys, it's 2018,
which is funny. Funny. So it clearly, okay, they change it every day implies that they've done numerous run-throughs of this presentation. Yes. Then how are so many people still so bad anyway? Forgetting the mic situations, how are people so cringy still with that? But yeah. It's kind of crazy. But Mario Rabbids is really, really fun. So I'm excited for when you eventually get around to playing it. It's very much Mario XCOM, which is nothing wrong with that. And I had a lot more fun with it than I thought I was going to. So not a day one pickup for me with the Donkey Kong DLC, but I definitely will get to it because both my wife and I enjoyed playing the game. So we're willing to check that out. Next one, I showed my lack of enthusiasm during the live stream for this one. It was Skull and Bones.
Why? Okay, hold on.
Yeah, go.
Skull and Bones, when it was announced last year, all I could think of was the Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Yep.
With the naval combat. That's all that I wanted. I thought it'd be great. But the trailer reminded me of like a Guy Ritchie movie. So like if you think of that latest King Arthur movie that was by Guy Ritchie, the music and the tone and everything was just, I think he did the trailer. But to me, it looks good. Like the visuals look really good. I'm not sure about the whole shared world. Is this all going to be PvP type thing? But it looks fantastic. and I did like the demo. So I'm surprised. So I'm pretty positive on this, but it sounds like you are a little bit less so, sir.
Yeah, that portion of Black Flag was my least favorite part of Black Flag. I wish there was no boat combat at all. I mean, that was just me. I loved Black Flag. That was actually one of my favorite Assassin's Creeds. But I hated the boat combat. I don't know if it's just a boat thing. I don't care for it. Visually, the game looks stunning. The soundtrack to it sounded great. Like everything looked great for it, but it's just not my kind of game. I don't see the appeal of it. I mean, where your character is essentially you're just playing as a boat. But then again, people could say the same thing about playing Rogue Squadron back in the day with on GameCube playing the Star Wars game, like you're just a ship, or playing Star Fox, you're just a ship. But for me, it just doesn't have the appeal, and I think especially after Sea of Thieves, where this isn't quite the same type of thing by any means, other than it's pirate themed, that burned me too. So I think I'm just kind of done with pirates for now until something comes along that's interests me a little bit. But it's just not for me. But it does look stunning, so I will give it that. It's just not my kind of game.
Mm-hmm. I got nothing else to say.
Got nothing else to do. Okay, so moving on then. Elijah Wood came out to talk again about Transference, his VR-focused project. He's working in collaboration with Ubisoft Montreal on that one. They did say now, while the game is designed to work with VR, they did announce this time it can actually play on a screen as well. It's coming this fall to PS4, Xbox One, Oculus Rift, the HTC Vive, PSVR, pretty much everything but Nintendo. And I mean, the trailer looked good. This is something definitely, I think, that interests me. Now, is this something I'm going to drop everything? I'm like, I must play this game. No, I don't think so, but it definitely looks creepy, which is up my alley. It's something I also think Donnie would really be attracted to want to play. So, I'm all for it. I am interested to see when somebody steps out of their comfort zone, essentially like Elijah Wood making video games. It's not normally something you would have put two and two together off the bat. But it does seem like he's doing it right. Certainly a heck of a lot better than Kurt Schilling did. But yeah, so it looked interesting to me. What about you?
Not for me. It had that creepy vibe to it. Yep. It had the live action, the full motion video, and but it also had like that video game. There was definitely both kind of mixed in there. It's not for me. It just doesn't do anything. I did think that it was interesting that we had both Elijah Wood and Joseph Gordon-Levitt on the Ubisoft stage, though.
Yeah, right.
And I thought it was great when Elijah Wood got his lines wrong, and like the third time he's like, yes. No. It was great.
Yeah, it was definitely cool. But yeah, you're right. It's a creepy vibe. It's more something up my alley, I think, than yours for sure. But interesting what's coming out. Want to see also what's its price point going to be? Is it going to be a $60 title? Is it going to be like a $30 title?
It can't be a $60 title. I think you're looking at least 20 to 30 range.
Yeah, I'm thinking 30 is the comfort zone for me, where I'd be like, hey, I will totally play this. And plus the advantage here with Donnie and I doing game share on Xbox is it's like a BOGO deal. So one of us pick it up. We'll both get to play it. We'll both get to play it. So now the next piece of news here is a little interesting. Last year, obviously, Ubisoft had the big unveiling with Mario Rabbids with Nintendo, and everyone was kind of shocked and ended up liking it when the whole leaks came out prior, and everyone's like, no, this is the worst thing ever. And then it kind of was universally loved after that. Ubisoft, again, is doing another crossover with Nintendo, this time with that Starlink game they also debuted last year, which was another Toys to Life space shooter type game where you actually get the little ships, you can click them on your controllers and play. So that mentality to me still seems silly, especially nowadays with Toys to Life being all but dead. Mm-hmm. They did something very, very smart here, and I give them high praise because they probably just tripled the sales in this game because Nathan, they added Star Fox.
Oh yes. I am not interested in the toys aspect. Like when this was announced last year, I was just like bored. And when it came back on the stage this year, I was like, oh, come on, you guys. I figured that they would be dead like Disney Infinity had died, and how, Amiibo is not being produced as much anymore. And just everything is kind of soured on the Toys to Life front. So I was thinking that they would probably like backpedal somehow, which kind of not, but they didn't really talk about the toys at all this time. They showed them a little bit. But when they said that Star Fox is joining the fight, so that trailer that introduced him, that had like the Super Nintendo sounds at the beginning, all the way up to how he looks currently. I was just like, you guys, you know what to do to make me want to play this game. Even though I was talking to a coworker today that I don't want to buy this game because it's $75 for this game because it comes with the ship, the
Yeah.
R-Wing.
Yeah.
I don't want to buy this game because I can probably guarantee you that the Star Fox stuff is probably going to be an hour, maybe 2 hours worth of content.
No,
What?
you can play the entire game as Fox.
But is it really as Fox though? Like, are they referring to you as Fox, or are you just going to be then the unnamed character that is just a passenger in the
That
story?
I'm not sure. But they did say you could play the entire game as Fox. So I'm not sure what that means yet. I'm sure we'll find out more as it gets closer. But yeah, they made it specific that you can play the entire game as him.
Well, as long as I got Peppy telling me to do a barrel roll.
Good luck, Fox. But yeah, I'm with you too. It's like I want just the game. I want a pack where I don't need the plane thing. Like just sell me the game because I just want to play as Fox. I literally have no interest in any other character in this game other than playing as Fox. That's all I need. Right. They're making the Star Fox game we should have had on the Wii U.
At least that's what we're hoping. That is what we're hoping.
Dude, just looking at it, Lordy looks better than Star Fox Zero. So
yeah, I agree with that. But
it seems like just a space shooter, like nice and easy, nice and simple. But you're right. In the same regards, is that worth $75? And because I see it being, in my mind, a Star Fox game. Like just I'm going to go through my air levels, I'm going to blow things up, and then I'm going to reach the final boss, and then the game's over. Like I'm not expecting a great narrative out of this. I could be wrong, but I'm just not expecting that. So it seems pricey for that.
Yeah. I just $75, even with I currently still have the Best Buy Gamer Club unlocked. I think I probably get the 20% off. Even with that, I'm not super jazzed about it. However, if I do get it, I have an R-Wing collectible that I've always been kind of wanting.
I was about to say, if not, Caroline will buy the R-Wing from you. So
that's the only thing I want. Like, I'll just buy an R-Wing.
Oh, okay. You just want the R-Wing. So you're gonna pull a Caroline. She doesn't want the game. She just wants the R-Wing. So, but you were talking about the same thing. Like when this trailer came out, like initially I was like, on this year again, I'm like, oh, again, and I was bored. Same thing as you. But the second that switched over, if you go back and watch the live stream, all of us are like, oh my god, this is happening! Like, it immediately opinion on the game just turned around. Us Nintendo people are just that lame that it takes one thing and we're like, this is the best idea ever.
I mean, did you guys get jazzed when you saw Donkey Kong on the stage? I mean, come on now.
Well, we knew that though. That wasn't a surprise.
Okay. At
least not for us. I mean,
but it was cool to see Miyamoto again.
Yes, and they gave him like a giant version of the R-Wing toy and Fox figurine, and he, smiled and said some nice words and words nobody could understand, but he said them anyway. But yeah, it just seems like I like this trend, and it kind of the only thing I don't like though is it's now setting the expectation that every year there's going to be some sort of surprise from Ubisoft, Nintendo, and at some point something
Samus
bad
in
is
the
going to
division.
happen. Samus, not quite the best fit, but I still would be excited because I mean I can't imagine her running around in her armor in the Division world, but you never know.
Mario Trials.
See that I think Excitebike Trials. I think I said that actually during the trailer. I'm like, hey, this is what Excitebike should be on Switch anyway, so it works. Anyway, we've talked enough about this. Next thing they showed was For Honor, which was another one that was kind of surprising to see them kind of drag out, much like Rainbow Six Siege. It's getting a new mode and a big expansion called Marching Fire, where they introduce some Asian-style fighters. Chinese, sorry. Not specific enough for you.
They already had Japanese.
Oh, that's right. You're totally right. So we'll introduce that new faction, 4 new fighters, and some new single-player content. They said it's For Honor's biggest and most ambitious expansion so far. And the starter edition of the game was free that week for PC players to try. Yep, on PC. On Uplay that week to people trying to get into it. For Honor never really attracted me, to be honest, so this didn't really do anything for me. But once again, it's just something showing that Ubisoft is trying to reinvigorate and stretch out the lifespan of some of their titles they've been releasing the last couple of years.
Right, and again, I appreciate that they are continuing to support these games, and I'm glad that they're doing this. This is fantastic. It's good for the customers that like the game. However, again, they are showcasing DLC on the E3 stage.
Yep,
and I don't like that. They're adding a new mode. Hurrah! It's just the people. I don't know anybody personally that likes For Honor.
I know one person that enjoyed it. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, I played it. It was free on Xbox for a weekend or whatever it was when they do that. So I played through like the night story, most of it, like probably like half of it. And it was okay, but I didn't really dig the combat that much. And I'm the kind of guy that this game is made for. Like, I love that sword play type game. I I should really, really love this game. It just the controls never worked for me, and I didn't care for it that much. And it just felt like it was like a Dynasty Warriors kind of wannabe,
Mhm.
but not. So I never really felt a connection with this game. And again, this is the trend. We saw it again on the E3 stage when there should have been something else put here. Like, where was Watch Dogs 3? Where was the Splinter Cell stuff? I mean, yeah.
I can't believe there was a Splinter Cell. Everyone kind of thought there was going to be a Splinter Cell announcement, and there just wasn't. I was waiting at the end for them to do, much like Cyberpunk showed up on Xbox's stage. I was expecting something just like that for Splinter Cell. It didn't happen. So
right.
But so the last thing they closed out the conference with, was
they had 2 more things.
Well, the big thing. What was the other things? The Crew 2 got a trailer and a open beta.
Again, yeah. Again, they were showcasing that it was already just announced last year, but the game looks good visually.
Yeah,
it looks fun. For racers, though, I mean, I'm pretty set with Forza Horizon 4 for this year. But the boats, the planes, the bikes, those could be fun.
That's true.
To at least try. But I wanted to see gameplay. Again, we didn't see any gameplay for what I feel like they should have had some gameplay on the stage. If they were going to take the time to have somebody out there to show it, why didn't they show us the game and what it actually looks like right now?
That's true. What was the other one? Because I don't have that.
But no, there was one more, just the last one here.
Oh, okay. Okay. So the final thing then was the big one for them, I think, in the conference here was Assassin's Creed Odyssey was officially unveiled, although it was heavily leaked the days going into E3. And it's exactly what we thought it was. It is Assassin's Creed Sparta, essentially. The game takes place hundreds of years before Origins. They did make more additional changes on top of what Origins did, which a lot of people loved. Also on my list of games I need to get to and play.
Fantastic.
I know. Everybody says it is, and I have the ability to play it, just haven't gotten around to it. For the first time, you can play as either a man or a woman.
It is not the first time.
No, it is, because you're selecting a single person. It's not the brother and sister combo.
No, but
I don't count that because you play as both the twins, the Fry twins.
Yeah, but it's not the first time you can play as a man or a woman, so it's stupid.
No, it is.
To make that claim.
No, it is, because the other time you have to play as a man and a woman. This one you get to play as a man or a woman.
That's so stupid.
All right, fair.
Also in Assassin's Creed Origins, there's a part where you play as a woman. So.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I'm sound familiar with that. They're adding branching conversations with dialogue options, and that's the first time for that, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I thought so. Yeah, I haven't seen anything. So the story will change based on the decisions you make, and they're adding romantic options, which I don't think that was in anything prior to my knowledge either, right?
No,
not in the games I played. So.
But also, tracking back to what we were talking about before, if you include the Assassin's Creed side-scroller games, there were women in there.
Oh, there was one in the Liberations, too, wasn't it? Was that the Vita one?
Yes, the Liberations.
Okay. So, but I mean, it's the first time you get to choose. Well, no, because, all right, fine. Syndicate. Whatever. Either way, you can play as a man or a woman. There you go. Have it. This looked really, really good. And I'm interested in your thoughts on it only because, and this is something I commented on the live stream, which some people picked up on afterwards, but I haven't seen enough chatter about it, I don't think. While this looks great, this to me is clearly Assassin's Creed God of War, because the gameplay style has, from what I've seen, completely changed from an Assassin's Creed mentality. Like, you're not sneaking at all. Like, you're going in and taking out, armies, and you have abilities now, like, besides just the normal Assassin's stuff. Like, you just seem to be like Kratos versus an assassin, which isn't a bad thing for me. It just seems odd that this almost doesn't feel like an Assassin's Creed game to me. It seems like something else. Still looks great, still has me excited for it. It just doesn't seem like Assassin's Creed to me.
So I get what you're saying there, but I feel like they just showed you that because that's probably gonna be more of a focus this time, because usually they don't have good free flow combat. They did in Egypt. What was it called? Origins. They had a good free flowing combat there, but I think that they wanted to showcase those abilities and that taking on more mentality or situational combat, because that's not the norm, like you said, of Assassin's Creed. So they're probably trying to figure out a way to show that to get those people that are more enticed by seeing that. I do think that you're still going to be sneaking around. There's always going to be a fair amount of sneaking around and stealth in Assassin's Creed games, but the the progression that they're making to be kind of more inclusive and doing you could probably take it stealth or action approach towards any situation you want to, unless it's mandated to be one way or another. I feel that that's kind of the angle that they're taking now, is just kind of making that more robust and refined combat approach for the people who want to just be the brawlers.
No, that makes sense. Like I said, I'm all for it. It looks great. It just didn't feel that way to me, but I get your point. It does. I can see them trying to appeal to the audience that they didn't already have hooked on an Assassin's Creed just by the title alone. I mean, the character models look great. The environment, the world they created for this one looks fantastic. I always love too when they have nods to historical characters in Assassin's Creed and have you run into them. And there's certainly some of that going on here for sure. So it looks really cool, and I'm excited for it. And I think it was a great way for them to kind of cap off the show if they weren't going to do a but wait, there's more moment for Splinter Cell or something. I don't think you could end it any way better than what they did here with Assassin's Creed.
Right. I mean, Assassin's Creed is their big heavy hitter for this fall. That's probably the one they're looking forward to most. I mean, Assassin's Creed Origins last year was my game of the year. It was just fantastic. It was really great. And this just seems to build on top of that. The trailer looked good, but it didn't look super polished yet. And I don't know if that was just, again, my stream. But I feel like it could have looked a little bit better, as far as in development it is at this point. The sea levels. So in Black Flag, I thought it was great because it was more of that naval combat and it's cannons and stuff.
Yeah.
With this, I don't think you're going to get that much sea combat because you didn't have cannons back then.
No, right.
So I'm curious to see what they'll be doing. Probably like arrows might be the only thing.
Yeah, maybe catapults like trebuchets.
Possibly.
That's the only thing.
I'm sure there's going to be a Trojan horse somewhere in this game.
Oh, there's got to be, right?
If there's not, it's a missed opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
But
that'll be the DLC.
There you go, Trojan horse DLC. With the two different characters, though, I'm curious if this is two different stories.
They didn't make it sound like it was going to be. It sounded like it's the same character. Either way, you just choose what you wanted to do. But the story will change based on your dialogue options and decisions you make throughout the game. But I don't think narratively it's two different stories from what they've said so far, at least.
So it's basically femshut versus male shut.
Exactly. So it'll be like a personal preference.
Right. Okay. Gameplay again looks great. The detail of the foliage and the petals on the ground.
Yeah. Yep.
Was really well done. And I did notice that this was on an Xbox interface.
Yes, so, it was. Yep.
It was at least using an Xbox controller. It could have been on a PC or it could have been on an X. But it looks really good, and I'm excited to see what this does on my Xbox One X as well.
Totally. So that caps up the actual conference itself. Like you said, there were a few missed opportunities, I think, in my mind, other than the presentation things like the hot mics and stuff like that. We didn't get any teaser for Watch Dogs 3, which we got to imagine has to be in development because I think 2 is a bigger phenomenon than 1 was, but they both sold decently, so you think they continue on with that. And then the big Splinter Cell, which everyone thought because they added them to Ghost Recon Wildlands, they're like, well, for sure we're getting a Sam Fisher game this year, or they're at least going to show it, and they did not even hint towards it, which was kind of mind-blowing for me.
Mm-hmm. So I did like how they closed the show off with bringing the people back on the stage. Mm-hmm. It was very close-knit, felt very familial. So you kind of had that nice bond going on. So I liked the way they closed it. But kind of walking through this conference again. So Beyond Good and Evil we kind of saw last year. So This was not the first time seeing that. Rainbow Six Siege, this was not the first time. Trials Rising, this was my first time. Division 2, we saw it on the Xbox stage.
We did. Yep.
But I'll say that this is the first time we saw on the Ubisoft stage. Skull and Bones we saw last year. Mario and Rabbids we already saw. Transference, I think this is probably the first time.
No, we've seen it before.
Oh, we saw it before. Okay.
Yep.
Starlink we saw before. For Honor, The Crew 2 we saw before, and Assassin's Creed this is the first time technically. So out of that list, we have 2 games.
We did not see Just Dance 2019 prior.
Okay.
And we still didn't see it at the conference because they showed nothing other than that whole dance sequence.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you want to say that we saw that. So by my count, it looks like we only saw 2 games at this conference, which, come on.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. And here's what's scary is because of this, you looked at half the presentation or maybe more than half the presentation was at last year's. And then everything else that they showed this year, that they unveiled this year, is also out this year or in February, with the exception of like Skull and Bones and Beyond Good and Evil. What are they showing next year? Because it would need to also come out next year. They have like nothing in the back burner anymore, it seems.
Maybe that'll be when we get finally Splinter Cell.
Maybe, or it's an unveiling and it's coming out that season. I mean, or they can continue doing the annual Assassin's Creeds. I mean, this new engine they have certainly works. So as long as they have the idea, they can run with it and get another one out in time, it seems. So.
I mean, 80% of the next year's presentations are going to be DLC for games that came out this year anyway.
Division 2 expansions and Starlink expansions. You can play as Falco next year, guys. Get excited for that. Or
Star Wolf.
Ooh, now that'd be cool. The expansion, you actually see the villain side of it.
Now, my question is that Arwing going to double somehow in the Smash Brothers Ultimate?
I don't know. Only because I don't know if it works the same. Well, it's got to work the same as Amiibo. So, possibly?
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah.
But, so my thoughts on the conference as a whole. Ubisoft has kind of become one of my favorite development houses over the years. The Assassin's Creed Origins last year, I've been really in love with Ghost Recon recently. I like Watch Dogs, and I'm just waiting bated breath for a Splinter Cell game. So they've become one of my favorite ones, and so I'm very excited to see what they would bring to the table. However, I was not super excited walking away from this conference as I thought I should be. I really wanted Ubisoft to have a strong showing, which I just don't think they did. From presentation, issues on the gaffes and all just weird timing and not having things where I think they should be, as far as, you're spending too much time on talking about Trials University, where you could have put in some gameplay for, the Division or something like that. So I just feel like there was a lot of missed opportunities here. And Ubisoft has done this before. I feel like they should have this down at this point to be able to know how to put on a conference that should be crisp, quick, and put through everything. Xbox, again, we talked about it at the front. We saw 50 games, and it didn't feel like it was 2 hours.
No, it didn't.
We saw some. I think we even did we see the DLC? I don't think we saw any DLC at Xbox. I mean, we had talked about services like Game Pass, so we can say that. But, there's something to be said with the amount of craftsmanship that goes into a presentation. And when you look at the other presentations that were on the conference circuit this year, I really feel like there was a lot of missteps in the conferences. Ubisoft should have nailed it a little bit better than they did, but I feel like this is like a C minus for me, somewhere in that range. And for me, having finally been able to watch all the conferences and sit down, I watched Sony live, trying to figure that mess out. I really think that Microsoft brought it this year, so I'm excited to see what they have. More to show. And, people are saying for Sony that they told you they were only going to talk about 4 games, so cut them a break. Like, no, that's not how this works. You come into E3, they've set the scene, they've set the precedence in years past to talk about the games, to have these great trailers, to have this great gameplay. But this year, they tried to take a little more of an artsy approach that kind of backfired on them. There was a huge awkward 20 minutes of intermission time. There was just, the games that they had, some of them looked cool. However, I feel like they should have talked a little bit more about them and what they were doing, and tell me more about the PlayStation 4 Pro and what you're going to be doing and bringing to the table for the owners of that, like me, that just bought one. Tell me it's finally time to change my name. I mean, I personally don't want it. I don't need it, but I know that there's a huge clamoring player base out there that's been asking for name changes forever. Especially
someone named Awesome Schlong.
Awesome Schlong. I feel very sorry for him. But I feel... Hi, Sean. This is the Awesome Schlong Drive. I feel like Nintendo, obviously, with their Direct, you know what you're getting into with Nintendo. They've set that precedence. You know what
Yeah.
to expect. And with Smash Brothers, and they brought out a lot of games, like you mentioned, 40 some games. Um, they put on a good showing as well. I think once you had Smash Brothers and you told us that every character ever is going to be in
Oh,
Smash Brothers, I think
yeah.
you have a good show. Um, but Fallout 76 and Bethesda, their show, I just I know you're a Bethesda guy.
Yeah, no, the presentation was rough. I will give you that. The whole, even just the stage was odd. I thought the stuff that they brought was good, but the presentation was not.
Yeah, but EA, uh, what
Yeah.
can I say about them? The whole Vince Zampella in the audience. Yeah, we got a Star Wars game coming out, and I guess I can probably tell you it's going to be called Star Wars Jedi: The Fallen Order or something like that. And there's just no pomp or circumstance about a Star Wars game.
Right.
Are you kidding me? Um, and just the guy that came out to talk about Battlefront 2 just didn't feel like.
How was he not booed? I'm
I
really surprised
feel.
that he crowd didn't turn on him.
Yeah, I think they probably had people in the audience that were uh, making sure that they were seeds for applause. Um, but they came out, and so this is weird, right? They, as a Star Wars fan and as a fan of pop culture, I'm told that the prequels aren't good.
Yes.
But their announcement is that, hey, we're getting prequel content.
And it's
And
what
everybody
everybody
goes wild.
wanted. Yeah.
Yeah. We've been listening. This is what you want. And I'm like, okay, for me, it's cool. I like the prequels. I personally do enjoy them. But someone like Devin, who says they don't exist, this is, who is asking for this? Who wants to play as Grievous now? Like, I don't know anybody.
Grievous is okay. How did they try and make Count Dooku a selling point?
Dooku,
I don't understand
yes.
that one at all. I was like, and nobody clapped, nobody did anything for that one. I'm like, at least Grievous is cool. I'm like, but then like, but not just him. You get Dooku, and it's like cricket.
Yeah.
Cricket.
Like, okay, I mean, he's got a cool lightsaber. I like his curved blade.
Oh yeah,
his curved handle.
But that's about the coolest thing about him.
Yeah, and they said that you had young Anakin, and
Yep.
I'm like, I would rather have like Mace Windu or
Mm-hmm.
Kiadi-Mundi. You have so many Jedi to play with in that time frame.
Yep.
But I mean, there's their conference, their Battlefield 5 trailer looked better than it did before.
Yeah.
When they announced it, I believe. But then there was Square. Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, that was my reaction too.
I just feel like there's some potential there. They didn't say anything about the Final Fantasy remake, which everybody wants. Nobody's hearing anything about that at this point. And then they had Shadow of the Tomb Raider, or not Shadow. What is it? Is it called Shadow of the Tomb Raider?
Shadow of the Tomb Raider.
Okay.
Yeah.
They got that coming out this year. I'm still not sold on it. I mean,
I
I'm
mean,
a
it looks
fan.
good. It just looks like more of the same.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a fan of the first couple games, and I'll play this one, but it's not day one for me for sure. It's sale. Wait
Game
for a Game Pass, or wait for something. A buy two get one free at Target or something like that.
Yeah.
I just feel like they had some opportunity to show some stuff about maybe Final Fantasy, or really get us excited about that. Or show us a different trailer for Kingdom Hearts.
Sony got the different trailer, which was weird. I'm like, you gave Xbox and Sony different trailers, but you take the same one with like two scenes inserted, like a Ratatouille scene for like 1 second. There was like something else that they showed for like one split second that wasn't in the Xbox trailer.
Yeah. So just some odd choices this year for the presentations. I think Microsoft, again, consistent, was really good. I loved seeing Phil on the stage. I like seeing that mixture of people talking and gameplay.
Yes, totally.
And trailers. Like, they have that good mixture. They have the montage. They have, the fake outs with the whole coalition thing, and the Gears of War type announcement. They have the huge bombshells of the studios that they've purchased and are developing. And Ubisoft just, I know this is a Ubisoft recap show, but Ubisoft just kind of faltered for me this year. And I really wish that they had talked more about what's coming, what's new.
What's new? Yeah.
I don't want to save the DLC talk for the post show or the pre-show stuff.
Yes.
Show me new and hot and exciting for the E3 conference. They just didn't do that.
Yeah, that's fair. So there you have it, everybody. That's the wrap on PSVG's E3 2018 coverage. I finally get to take a break and stop talking about E3, which our coverage lasted longer than E3 itself. Remember well, actually, before we do that, Nathan, where can people find you and follow you, sir?
They can't.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
But if they wanted to, I am on Twitter at Voiced by Nathan, and I'm on Xbox at Spider Jedi, and on PlayStation as the same as well. And I have a Switch for when Smash Brothers comes out, and Starlink possibly.
Fair enough. And if you also want to follow Nathan, you can also creep outside his house and drive behind him on his way to work tomorrow if you'd like.
If you do that, let me know if my right taillight is still out. I'm curious.
It's good to know. At least be useful to him.
Yeah, I mean, you can at least be like, hey, knock on the window with your mask on and say, your taillight is still out, and then just go back into your car. Yep. Or you could be even better and say, your taillight is out, and bring me a coffee.
Ooh. With 2 sweeteners?
Yes.
All these inside jokes is terrible.
This is the Ubisoft drive.
Anyway, so you can follow me at PSVG Kevin. Follow the site at PSVG. Hit up the website itself, psvg.blog now. Don't forget that. And then lastly, we've been teasing this a little bit now. We have a big announcement.
Premiere.
We do have a world premiere announcement coming. And it's big, guys. I will tease that much. It's so big that literally people on staff don't even know what it is yet. Nathan does not know what it is.
The exclusive.
We need those voice clips just to throw in randomly in podcasts. So yeah, stay tuned to that. We have big news coming soon. It's the biggest and most ambitious thing we've ever done as a community, I guess you can say, as PSVG network, whatever you want to call it, that we've done ever before. But more importantly, stay tuned, stay listening, and never stop gaming.